You're late.
You're bad at math, but I'm giving you an A+ in confidence.
Just doing what I gotta do.
Extra credit.
Yeah, man, it has been a comedy of errors today. Everything is a little bit twisted. I've had technical problems on every single thing I own. Phones, computers, the fucking gate. My front gate won't open anymore, so we're all fucking trapped. Like, ugh. It's been an interesting Tuesday. So, yeah. All sorts of stuff. Yeah, it ain't no happy Tuesday. It's just Tuesday. It's just fucking Tuesday. Let's see. Was there one toe hold submission in UFC history, Frank Mir? There was only one toe hold submission. Oh, straight ankle lock? I mean, there's been a lot of heel hooks. There's been a few heel hooks. And there's been a few knee bars. But maybe Frank. Oh yeah, old Tank Abbott. That's funny. Tank Abbott. Yeah, well, Cloudflare is not what's making it where I can't get out of my gate. That's the motors. I think the motor's screwed up and it's just a nightmare. Let's see. I've been away for a bit. Any update on InLead? Well, no. All right. Well, yeah, there's equity. So the private clients that bought in the early, before the token was issued, that all bought, that equity is those tokens are converting to a non-voting kind of equity, but I don't think they can do that with the regular tokens because it's not everybody that owns it would be accredited investors. So for the InLead token, we may just all have to wait for them to launch a token, which they will launch, but it's their timeline. It's from when they finish fundraising, they have like 36 months to launch the token. And I'm sure at the end of all that, if they didn't, then they would probably have to return. I don't know how it works. They'd probably have to return those funds. And you would think that at that time they'd be liquid enough that they could return those funds. Or if people are accredited, they could trade for equity or something like that. So we'll keep grinding them for that. But no, there's no real updates other than they agreed to give the early token holders equity, but those are all accredited investors, and so legally they can do that. And legally they can't give equity to the regulars. It is what it is. It is what it is. Let's see. Yeah, so there we go. Okay. What's going on? Not much. Things are still kind of basic. I mean, Bitcoin at 93,000. I guess it's only good if you looked at Bitcoin yesterday when it was at 89,000. And you're Michael Saylor probably crapping his pants. Like, I just got an update that says Bitcoin at 89,000 traps Wall Street. But yet we're looking at the price and it's 93,000. So I don't know if it's Wall Street trapped. I don't know. Anyway, and I don't really care if Wall Street's trapped. Anyway, yeah. So there we go. Let's see. Aster seems to be recovering nicely. Yeah. I mean, again, it's down. Being at 136 only sounds good when you forget that a few weeks ago we were at 212. If you're like, oh, we were at 212, and then you just came back and you looked and it was 136, I don't think you would argue that anything's recovering nicely. It's not going down further, I think, is what you would say. It's not going down further. That's true. It's not going down further. Well done. He says this is the last time you'll ever be able to buy Bitcoin. He might be right. I mean, those guys nailed it on a few things. They were way ahead of their time. I mean, they were smart when they bought Ethereum. They were smart when they bought Bitcoin. They jumped into the NFT thing just at the right time. You know, they did when they opened Nifty Gateway, which was a great exchange. I mean, it's all but dead now, but it was great at the time. So yeah, that was cool. And they've been in crypto since pretty much the beginning. I mean, they didn't hit it on day one, but they were probably a couple years in. Yeah, man. There's a lot of people that were super early and they just already booked it, and they probably just look back like, oh my God. But yeah. Anyway, what are you gonna do, right? Let's see what else is going on. Not a whole lot in the macro. I was looking at CNBC earlier. Google announces Gemini 3 as battle with OpenAI intensifies. Okay. I mean, I love it. I love the battle. The NASDAQ, the S&P, Dow, they're all getting destroyed right now, which is interesting. Because I guess Bitcoin and Ethereum bounced back a hair, while this is finally we're getting a market sell-off in the traditional financial markets, and we're not getting our asses handed to us, even though we got our asses handed to us for a month and a half straight. What a dick punch. We've taken a dick punch, fellas. Anyway. Yeah, Dow is down 535 points. S&P is down 65. NASDAQ's down 318. Let's look at this, what Google's talking about. I mean, all these AI models, I don't know if you guys know that we're working on a project, kind of a private project. I don't know if some of you I've told about it. I wonder if, let me see if I can do something. Let me see if I can, a video file, desktop. Oh, it wouldn't be desktop, would it? Would it be, shit, I wonder where it would be. Let me see. Give me a second. I'll show you what we're working on. Let's see. Might be a good idea to sell the SUI or maybe Jupe that I still have at a loss to buy Bitcoin while it's down. Well, it's going to be a question of what do you think recovers quicker. Now, I can tell you this, Kurt, you'll sleep better owning Bitcoin. You will certainly sleep better owning Bitcoin. I had a video that I put on here yesterday. Give me a momentito to see if I can find it. Where would you be? I'm going to move some things around. Okay, hold on. Wait one. See if I can find it. Okay, it's not there. It was, gotcha. Okay, give me a second. It wasn't this computer because purposefully I don't have this computer hooked up to, I wonder. Anyway, I was going to show you what we're working on, our AI project, if I'm able to. Let's see if it lets me share it with this one. AirDrop. Oh, it's not recognizing it. Interesting. Okay, good. I guess that's good. That means people can't jack my take over this computer. This is the broadcast computer, and so I've been trying to avoid letting Apple Cloud, find it, so that no one can hijack my stuff. But let me try something. Let me just try something, because I put it in Telegram for the digital private clients. I wonder if you can.
Cinema, from idea to film.
Whoa. Let's see. Save. I can save it. Save as. Let's call it Cinema Demo. Okay. If I saved it correctly, then I should be able to add it. StreamYard does let you add video files as long as you can find them. Okay, so this is gonna be experiment.
Cinema, from idea to film and everything in between.
Here's the audio.
Your creativity should not have gatekeepers. Anyone with an idea should be able to utilize our tools and create fully animated shorts, sizzle reels, television episodes, streaming episodes, short films, and complete 4K feature-length films. If you already have a project, screenplay, script, notes, and ideas, then we can take that project through all of the steps so that you can see it come to life. Anywhere you are in the creative pipeline or process, we will be able to pick up and take you all the way to exporting your fully finished 4K masterpiece. No agents, no meetings, no leather couches, no gatekeepers, nobody to tell you no. So whether you have nothing more than a vague idea or you have a tight edited screenplay, we have you covered. You will be watching your project on the big screen in just a few short days. For writers, we have Writer and Writer Pro. With Writer, you get to start from scratch and build your idea into a full script, screenplay, and then onto full production. With Writer Pro, you can take a pre-existing script or screenplay and take it to the next level so that you're watching it on the big screen, or prepare it to shoot in the traditional format. For producers, we have a suite of tools that handle everything from coverage, full script, and market analysis, budget analysis, static storyboarding, dynamic storyboarding, sizzle reel, and full feature film production. Everything to prepare you for shooting at a tiny fraction of the usual costs. Whether your project is live action, animated, or something in between, we have you covered. You can easily create a stunning sizzle reel, or if you choose, you can have the entire project rendered in 4K with a full musical score and soundtrack.
Bam. All right, let me come back here. Let's go here, remove, add. Okay, yeah. So that's what we've been working on, and it's tons and tons of AI models under the surface being managed by AI. So imagine it like a symphony or an orchestra, and all the little instruments are large language models, multimodal models, vision models, all that kind of stuff. And so we've been building it for a while, kind of in secret. But now we're starting to get out and talk to investors and stuff like that. So you have to have something to show them. But what's interesting is our system, we don't care like whatever the best models are. We just use them under the hood. It's kind of how you stitch everything together. And then this is really geared towards two groups, towards producers, Hollywood producers that have a slate of projects that they're working on, and then creators that, so like as a general question, Does anybody here have an idea that they've ever had that they thought would make a good TV show or film? If you've ever had an idea, so do you guys know what a log line is? So you're basically condensing your entire idea into 1 or 2 sentences. So that's where you start. You start with the log line, right? You take your log line and then you create from that, you create like a synopsis, which would be a little bit, a 3-paragraph description of your story or idea. Well, what our system does is it works with you just like you're communicating, and you can tell it your story. It'll help you build the story into a script, the script into storyboards, which is like the actual pictures each scene would have of what characters in the scene, where's the camera motion and all that. And then we have a thing called dynamic storyboarding, which you saw where the storyboards turn into kind of live action storyboards. And then you can spit out your actual film. So you can go from idea all the way to film and all those little steps in between. So people that are producing can keep producing and use some of our tools. We do script analysis and all that kind of stuff, all the kind of stuff that has to happen anyway for producers. But if you know nothing about nothing, you can start with an idea, and within 2 to 3 days, you can pump out a full finished 4K film, like broadcast quality film. So, well, it's not film, right? Nothing's done on film anymore. It's video, and it's yours, and you have the rights to it. We're also building a companion streaming network where that content would go, and then you would be able to market it. So we'll have all these marketing tools. You can click a button. You can market your movie that you came up with, or your TV show. Maybe you have the pilot episode of your TV show that you just made, and then so there's all sorts of reasons why people with ideas should be able to express those ideas, and AI tools are now at a place where you can do that. You can utilize those tools. So this is pretty cool. So we're in a cool time where we can do all this kind of cool stuff. So when I see the information coming about these new models, this model, that model, and everybody's like, oh no, now we have to use this one or switch that one. For us, it's just different instruments in the orchestra. And all of that is under the hood of this software in the various tools that you get. So anyway, that's what we've been messing with. Let's see. You wish you had an idea for a movie or series. Well, the thing is, everybody has an idea. Like everybody on Earth has an idea. We thought about doing this a few different ways. We thought about like for raising money, because it's not a crypto project. I mean, and forcing crypto on it would be a bad fit, because there's no real crypto use other than pay by crypto. There's no crypto use case here. But there may be a decentralized use case. I guess if we got enough people mad at us, there may be a reason to put something like this and decentralize it. But we did think about doing a token sale that would be for equity, like an equity token sale to fund it, rather than going through the traditional Hollywood means. And I had talked to since we had this demo made, which was only Thursday, we even had this demo. Otherwise, it's just been scaffolding and architecture. We've had 3 meetings with producers. And each time the number of producers that show up at the meeting's bigger. And so I did tell them that I was going to go and look into seeing if this was something that our digital private clients wanted to engage in. But I told them I wouldn't pull the trigger on anything until we like deeply consider everything. Like what makes the most sense. Tactically, having a bunch of producers as investors in this makes the most sense because they're dialed into Hollywood. Anyway, it's still something I'm kicking around, but that would be an equity type thing. So far, I've just been self-funding it, but in order for us to scale and hire people, bring in the lawyers we need to protect copyrights and patents and all that kind of stuff, because I think a lot of the stuff we've done is would be considered IP that's protectable. So you got to get lawyers in to look at that kind of stuff. And we have one of our digital private clients that's what his job is. So that might be kind of cool. But anyway, yeah. So that's been kind of going on in the behind the scenes. We looked at some different ways to fit crypto in. We're going to have a talk in a few weeks. I'm going to have my tech guys talk to Dan Tolliver, the co-founder of Hypercycle, about would Hypercycle nodes increase the intelligence of this system? I mean, if it increases the intelligence of a network, and this is definitely a network, all these different tools that we're using, then would it make sense to have Hypercycle node or mini nodes kind of spread throughout the tech stack? So yeah. Who is we? We is me and the other two co-founders on this one, the tech guys. So yeah. So it's that. So anyway, that's what we've been kind of banging around in the background. But that's why this news, whenever I see news about different models that are coming out, or the battle between Google versus Google versus OpenAI and all this. So after Gemini 3 has been announced, just 8 months after the company rolled out Gemini 2.5, the company said its latest suite of AI models will require users to do less prompting to get the desired results, which is good. Less prompting is better, but obviously the more you prompt, the more unique your prompt is, the more unique and accurate your output is. Like for us, a good example, we have to have a really good explanation of characters. Why? Because we have to maintain a character not through one scene, but through dozens or many, like over 100 scenes in like a film, right? That character needs to be the same character. So the seed, the embodiment of that character and his physical characteristics and everything, and his voice and everything, that has to be very consistent. So yeah. So consistency, character consistency, and visual continuity is maintained through having really, really good, elegant, very specific prompt, right? That seed. Let's see. Google also announced its latest suite of AI models will require users. So they can do less, get more. They announced a new agent platform called Google Anti-Gravity, which lets developers code at a higher task-oriented level. Cool. Gemini 3 will be integrated into the Gemini app, Google's AI search products, AI mode, and AI overviews, as well as its enterprise products. The rollout begins Tuesday for select subscribers. Yeah. And we'll go more broadly in the coming weeks. The announcement comes about 8 months after Google introduced Gemini 2.5 and 11 months after Gemini 2.0. OpenAI, which kicked off the generative AI boom in late 2022 with the public launch of GPT, introduced GPT-5 in August. Think how far we've come since January of 2023. That's really when kind of OpenAI launched this to the world, right? So it's pretty cool how far we've come. Gosh, how long should I keep rolling? Well, Jim, you'll have to tune in on a Thursday, and we'll talk about it on the Options Hour. Let's see. Will you have a render token? Yeah, just a token for the sake of having a token. Yeah. Render, their whole company is one of our services. One of the services we offer is Render and Render Pro, which will take your project from storyboard or script and just create the film, like the 4K output. And I think that our Render Pro product does what the entire company of Render endeavors to do with the bullshit token and a bunch of scummy community members. Yeah. And ours, it's one of the services that we offer. Click. Anyway, but that's all. Yeah, that's all where that's going. Everybody here probably knew that this kind of stuff was coming. If you have a story already, how can I get involved? Well, if you have anything from a story idea, that like even just an idea, a grain of a seed of an idea, then you will be able to start there and flush it out and go all the way through the kind of production pipeline. If you already have a script, you would take your script and you would upload it. And what our system does is the first step, for those of you that don't know how it works, when you have a script, does anybody here know what you have to get in order, like say you submit your script to somebody, some producer, what is the first thing they're going to do before that script can even be considered for purchase, option, production, anything? There's a first step. I'm giving you guys some inside the industry. Does anybody here know what coverage is? I don't think anybody's going to come up with that answer. Anyway, it's called coverage. You have to get coverage, and coverage is a very specific kind of overview or synopsis in looking at a project and looking at its viability. So a coverage reader, and they usually have a bunch of coverage readers, which are a bunch of idiots that are like 21 years old. They don't know shit about shit. They're just like interns, but no one likes to read in Hollywood. But anyway, what a proper coverage is, it's going to give the producer a bunch of information, which is everything needed to decide on whether the script is worth time and money and risk, because all of those things are kind of interwoven, right? So the coverage reader, they're going to take your script and they're going to go, okay, let's create a concise log line, right? That's your one sentence that captures the premise, the protagonist, the conflict, the stakes involved. That ideally one sentence, okay? Then they're going to do a summary, which is, a couple pages, which is going to talk about, it should be an objective outline. There shouldn't be any of the reader shouldn't be injecting any of their opinions yet, but it should be an outline of the setup, the major plot turns and twists, character arcs, the ending, any non-linear structure or timeline notes. This is no opinion. This is just purely what has happened in the story. This is a summary. Then they're going to inject their years of knowledge, which is their evaluation of the script. And it's going to be the comments and analysis part. So they're going to talk about story structure, character themes, tone, the genre fit, the marketability, which how would they know? They don't know, because they're a bunch of idiots. This is one of the problems in Hollywood, is the coverage is very poor because no one wants to read. Producers don't read shit until they've gotten good coverage, but you got to get through the coverage hurdle. It's kind of an executive. Yeah. You're close. It's kind of an executive summary, kind of. But again, it's a little bit more detailed. So they talk about, they go into marketability. And again, you're asking like, how would a 21-year-old fresh out of school newbie know any of this shit? They don't. So the coverage that I'm telling you they're supposed to supply is not what they're getting. It's usually just some kid that reads it and they're like, I like it. And they'll do some very limited notes. But anyway, marketability, originality, writing quality. Well, unless you've read 50,000 scripts, how would you know? Right? Like, how would you know? Writing quality, the voice, the scene economy, the dialogue authenticity, formatting issues. Right? So there's some software in Hollywood now where you can kind of drop a script in there and it'll give you very basic coverage. And what it does is it basically scores your script. And if it's below a certain point, you're out. And if it's above a certain point, they'll look at it. And then they'll probably give it to an actual reader. But then you have your red flags and production risks, like your legal and your E&O, right, which is your kind of the things that can get you in legal trouble, right? So real brands used without clearance, real people that are portrayed, defamation type dialogue, unlicensed references, music, copyright infringements, all this kind of crap, which we don't have those problems. Why? Because we make the content. So we can make every car in the film not have logos on it. So like things like that, license plates, all that. Anyway, you look at production complexity, budgetary pressure points. Then part of it's going to talk about formatting and technical issues. You're going to look at all the kind of like page count, formatting, industry standard deviations, dialogue to description ratio, overwritten, underwritten scenes, all that kind of crap. And then they'll make a little consideration. So this coverage reader will then say, okay, I'm passing on it, consider it, or recommend it. Like something that's very strong, they would give a recommend. Something that sucks, but it has maybe some chance, they would give it has potential with work. And something that's just trash would be not worth moving forward. So then they're going to give it a numerical or a letter grade. They're going to grade a bunch of characters. They're going to grade the premise, the structure, dialogue, commercial value, originality. And already this list should seem overwhelming. And that's because no one fucking does this. No one. This is what they're supposed to do. This is not what they do. They do 3 pages of coverage. Why? Because the same people that don't read scripts, they're not going to read the coverage notes. They're just going to look, pass on it, recommend it, or consider, right? Like that's it. And then they might like read some of the notes. Anyway, then there's going to be a section on the rewrite potential, like what level of rewrite is. And again, the people that are reading this don't know any of these things. And this is the problem with Hollywood, is that the gatekeepers, the people that are telling us what is good and bad, don't know what is good and bad. They don't know anything. This is a problem. When you're gatekeepers, that's like having your talent scouts for baseball, people that have never played baseball. And they're going out to college games trying to scout. Like, what did you see? I don't know. I don't even know the rules to baseball. Then what are you doing here? This is what's going on in Hollywood, which is why you're seeing a bunch of retreaded dog shit instead of anything new. Seeing the same old crap. You wonder why they're doing Baywatch for a third time? Because they're fresh out of ideas and they don't know what they're looking at. And this system is a closed loop. It's like an Arkansas family tree. It's a circle. So anyway, the final part of it is these kind of overall recommendations to a producer. And that's a kind of decision-oriented explanation of, should we pursue it? Should we option it? Should we hire a writer to come rewrite it? Or is it dead DOA, right? That's what coverage is supposed to be. We can do all of this because we can make AI agents go in and do every bit of this. That's what we do. So that's what our coverage product is. It does this full coverage. And then we have a Coverage Pro product, which then goes into detail and it does a lot more. So it takes these coverage notes and actually goes one step further. It starts finding interesting scenes. It looks at what they would look like visually. It takes the first scene and it actually renders it so you can watch the opening of the TV show or film. Anyway, so that's just one example of what's going of the very first step. So when you say, if you have a story already, how can you get involved? Well, your first step in the real world, in the world that exists now, would be to go get coverage. And that's tricky. Well, here you'll be able to just ingest your script and get coverage instantly. And then if you depending on what level of participation, because all of the products that we have a pro version. I wonder if I can show it. Let me see. Some of our stuff is not available, but let me take a look. Let's see what we got. So yeah, so this is like an example, a difference between storyboarding, like on the left, and Storyboard Pro, which starts to render. So you could see, instead of just seeing the scene, discovery, you could see what discovery looks like. And all of a sudden you start to see all these scenes stack up, and you're starting to get a good idea of what your film is going to look like. But essentially, we're building it for writers, producers, people that want to put music into their projects. We're going to have music tools where you'll be able to do a full soundtrack, all AI created. Well, you and AI created, and you'll be able to actually, that'll be your music. And all of this stuff is yours. Like you own it. You've created it with the help of AI, but these are your creations. Therefore, it's yours. Like you own the IP, right? One of the things that we're working on right now is flushing out all the characters. We have kind of already a pretty dense group of like almost 800 characters that you'll be able to use, and then you can nuance them. You can start changing them and do all sorts of little cool stuff. But this is something that we've been working on, and they're going back through. It's a lot of a lot of this stuff we're still doing the plumbing. So yeah, but like all this stuff is coming, and so you'll be able to take your script, get coverage. You start with coverage, then you work with either yourself or your AI, and you'll have an AI assistant when you're working with our software that will help you go and clean up your script. Basically, you'll have access to an AI showrunner, and that showrunner will be like, okay, well, we have to fix this scene, we have to fix this, I can make some recommendations, or you can do it on your own and all that. We haven't figured out any of the price points and all that kind of stuff yet. We know that there'll be some very, very basic kind of low end versions for the creators, all the way down to what do they call it? Like fully, like there'll be some kind of free versions where you'll be able to do certain stuff for free, and then you would subscribe, because what we're going to do is pass on the costs of utilizing the large language models and all the different API calls. That'll be the things that people will pay for. So there'll be like a minimum subscription fee, and then if you render a film, that would have a cost. If you create a this or create a that, whatever those costs are, we'll just, kind of aggregate those costs out among all of the network users. And then those will be the kind of cost per job type stuff. So yeah, so there's that. Beyond that, I don't have any more details for that yet. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So slowly but surely. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Will you be using the course system like Flow does? Probably not. This will be, I don't even know what the course system like Flow is. I don't even know what that is. I learned writing the old school way, where you have an idea, a log line, a synopsis. You do a beat sheet with your 15 major beats, and you get your beat sheet nailed. Then you go to the cards. Then you start banging out your scenes. You figure out where your act breaks are. And then when you have all your cards for your entire episode or film, then you start writing. Like that's, so, most of the script analysis is based on, finding the act breaks, your 15 beats, things like that. So yeah. But I don't know what, I think we will create the system based on norms in Hollywood, and we will weight it based on things that are selling and things that are being watched, right? Like things that have more watch hours, those scripts should rate higher than a script that was written 10 years ago that might not resonate with people now, because we want everything to be accurate and relative and relatable. And if you're working on a project, you want your project to be relatable to the current eyeballs. And, you know, people, ideas and trends and things like that change. So you want to kind of stick with that, right? But yeah, so that's where we're at. So yeah, that's the project. It's kind of fun. Some good times, good fun times. That's the character section. Bam. So yeah, we'll be cleaning all this up as we go. And yeah, so now we'll talk to some investors, we'll grab some cash, we'll hire on some more guys, we'll bring in the patent lawyers, which are already starting to dig through. We'll bring on some show accountant. All of our hires that are not tech talent are going to be from Hollywood. They'll be either producers, studio executives, things like that. People that are already behind the wall. Like the first guy we're hiring was an executive at CBS, and he's done work at Netflix and Apple TV, and he's done a bunch of films. I think he's been in the business like 35 years. So he's behind the wall. He's in the trenches. And for a project like this to be useful to as many people as possible, we need people that are in the business looking outward, not people outward looking inward, right? It's impossible. Once you get in, you're in. It's impossible to get in, and that's what we're trying to break. Yeah. So yeah, that's what we've been doing, man. Well, all the good times, all the fun times. But yeah, so it should be fun. I'm just try to grab me quick, somewhere between $5 and $15 million. Get this thing fully funded for 3 or 4 years, and then it's off to the races. And then we'll slowly start opening up, like the script coverage part. We will start making that available, that service available pretty quick within the next 2 to 3 weeks. So you'll start being able to do script analysis and all that. And for any writer with a script or a story, that already is valuable. And then we just go from there. Probably it's going to be the music. Oh, our music thing is I think that's built also. So that would be another tool. But we have the major tools. Let me see if it has a list of the offerings. There's Writer Pro, Coverage Pro, and of course those are also available to producers, right? And then you have Storyboard Pro, Previs Pro, which allows you, if you're animating a film, you could look at the animations first before you actually spend a lot of money animating. As an example, if you guys remember Rhythm and Hues, did anybody here see Life of Pi? Remember the movie Life of Pi? The kid on the boat with the tiger on the little boat, and somewhere during, so that was done by Rhythm and Hues, and they won an Oscar for it. But when they went to get the Oscar, they were already bankrupt, and they were bankrupt because somewhere along the production, one of the executives came in and said, "Hey, we really like this, but can you make it be raining?" And they're like, "What?" They're like, "Yeah, just make it be raining." And they're like, "Well, you mean add rain throughout the whole thing? Like, do you know how complex that is?" They're like, "Yeah, we want it to be raining." And that the difference between raining and not raining in that film, because of the complexity of rain, and think about it. think about what goes when you look at rain. Think about how much is happening in a scene and interacting with the fur on the tiger and all this kind of stuff. It bankrupted them. They were bankrupt when they went to collect the Oscar. So we're at a time now where you can do previs and you don't have to be bankrupt. So that's kind of what we're going for, is the don't be bankrupt. And so for producers, a lot of these tools, because most people are not, they're not with the idea of going from idea to full film in 2 days. They're not big fans of that. But these are tools that producers can use right now. So again, Previs Pro, Sizzle Pro, like doing a sizzle reel for your project, which normally costs, $20, $30, $50,000. For us, it would be very minimal. Music and Music Pro, Render Pro, and also we have a new tool called Casting and Casting Pro, where you'll be able to cast And actors will be able to actually, they'll have a companion app. They'll do a 3D of themselves, they will be rendered and available for people to utilize in their projects. And they can set themselves to free, or they can set themselves to free plus revenue share, or a fixed cost plus rev share, or whatever. They'll be able to set their kind of desired, hiring capability, and then they will become one of the characters you can use. But if it's a character, like if it's a real person, they might say, hey, every project that uses me, I want $100 and I want a share of the revenue. I want an actor's cut of the revenue if it generates income. And we have a companion streaming network that we're starting with it. And all of the content that's produced, all the actual outputs will go, and it can only be viewed on that platform. And the beauty of that, now you'll have full control over it. The platform is free. Everybody can use it, but it keeps everybody in one place. And that way we can get information about watch time, who's viewing it, things like that. And as projects go higher and higher, like more eyeballs, then we'll put it as part of the actual programming on the network, and we'll monetize it. And you'll earn revenue. You'll actually earn, like if you come up with an idea and make a movie and people like it, you will make money. And there's not all those asshole middlemen like in Hollywood. So if you get 10 million views, that's a lot different than 10 million people going to the movie theater, right? Like you'll get a lot more of that 10 million bucks, or 10 million, who knows what. Anyway, so we're going to monetize that content. And we'll have both, episodic as well as features. Anyway, yeah. So that's what the vision is for the next 3 months, is to build. We don't know if we'll have the streaming platform finished, but the other cool thing about the streaming platform is when you make your movie and you export it to your account at the streaming platform, and it's up there and people can watch it, and you'll click a button and you'll have an AI marketing team. You'll click one button, and it will go out to all your social media. It will market your project. It'll look for advertisements. Like if you want to go and do some paid, buy some ads for your movie, you can advertise it across other projects on our platform, or across YouTube, across Instagram, Facebook Live, TikTok. You'll be able to kind of automate the marketing process to market your projects. So yeah, everything will be as simple as possible, but no simpler. But yeah, so anywhere you are in that idea process, you'll be able to utilize this stuff and do some cool shit. So yeah, and for that, I gotta go get some money from some people. Let's see, Maxwell Maltz hasn't updated. Sites. Oh, cool. So I'm imagining our investments paying off and all of us having $90K a year tax bill on our new homes. Yeah, as you should, Craig. Yeah, God, man. Property tax. Yeah, I got to write that check. in the next 2 weeks. But, it is what you do. It is what you is. Can you take a 400-page novel and turn it into a movie or a cartoon? Yes. So you would take your novel, you would ingest that, you would then work with the AI to create a script. You would create your script, your 15 beats, boom. You would then get coverage on your script to see where it fits. And ideally, if you're having it help you write it. Now, this process might take a little while. It's not going to be one click, because you would want to kind of manage that process about how that script is created. I mean, I guess you could just click it once, but ideally you would participate. And yes, then you create your script, you do your storyboards, you add your music, and you render it. So yes, anywhere in the idea process that you will be able to export a fully finished product with no training. You'll just learn as you go, and you'll have someone to communicate with, just like this. So there. Yeah. That's what we got. That's what's going down. Okay. Market wise, hey, listen, it's not that negative. I mean, Bitcoin's only down a little bit from yesterday, and Ethereum is it's over 3,000. I guess we take what we can get, right? Anyway, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully you guys aren't having all your little technical glitches like I am, but you know what? This stuff happens. It is what it is. Now I gotta figure out how to get this damn garage, this gate open. I'm behind a gate. It's a big heavy metal one. I gotta figure out how to get out. Anyway, stay in school. Don't do drugs. Don't do anything my poor and solvent drunk, struggling meth grandmother or Brandon wouldn't do. And if you had a big chunk of your portfolio in SUI and you had to and brought this thing down to just drop 50%, would you try to write it back up or would you pull the money out? I got out of SUI completely. You guys all know this. I think you guys know this. I got out of SUI completely. I was at SUI Lind. I had borrowed against it. That was in the options market. Fine, made some money there. But when SUI started going, it started going fast, and it's under my original purchase price. My original purchase price was $1.92, and it's $1.69. Unfortunately, I dumped a lot of my SUI that was the excess. I dumped it into Aster when it was $2.12. So I got clipped pretty hard there, but not clipped as hard as I would have been had I stayed in SUI, because I got out at $3.47, $3.48, and it's lost almost $2. So I would be down about 66%, and I'm only down 40%. So maybe I saved 20%. I don't know. It's hard to see. Well, 50. No, it'd be down 70%, wouldn't it? That's almost 70%. Yeah. Because that's 100%. Yeah. So, yeah. There you go. Well, no, let's see. 10 would be 35. I'm up about 20%. Anyway, I'm not knocking any home runs out, but yeah. So there you go. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Go and tip your baristas today. Remember, life is not easy for a lot of people, so try to be mindful of that when you're out and about. Yeah. And on that note, I bid you adieu.